Before I move on to the relationship between music and animals, let me start by singing a rendition of Rag Tilak Kamod. This particular song describes the arrival of spring in India. So here goes. Koyaliya bole ambuva ki dalariya. Koyaliya bole ambuva ki dalariya. Mohak sursun भूल सावत जिया मोहक सुर सु भूल सावत जिया कोयलिया बोले आंबुआ की डालरिया कोयलिया बोले आंबुआ की डालरिया. So, Indian classical music is intertwined with nature, seasons, and emotions. It's one of the oldest musical traditions in the world. Each of the 7 swars, Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Dha, Ni, have originated from the voices of different animals. For example, Sa is the voice of a peacock, Re is the voice of a skylark, of a piha, Ga is the voice of a goat, and so on. So just like the swars come together to form different melodies, living beings come together to form an ecosystem. So one summer, 8 years ago, I was sitting in a forest in Rani Khel, which is a small hill station in Uttarakhand, and I was listening to the birds chirp, the insects whisper, the breeze rustling through the trees, creating a sort of melody. But this magical moment was disturbed by the cacophony of a crow. It sounded like he was trying to sing, but he couldn't really figure out how to sing. So this crow inspired me to create the series of pop-up books on Indian classical music. And they follow the story of this crow called Kaga. And this curious little crow really wants to sing. So he goes to visit the different birds and animals which have created the different swars and learns more about music from each of them. So animals rely on sound to connect, to travel, and to hunt. They've evolved their voices over millions of years in order to communicate effectively over large distances. We can understand a lot about the health of an ecosystem by how it sounds. A powerful creature chorus means that everything is all right. However, every ecosystem is delicately balanced, and unfortunately, we have put it out of tune. Pretty sure most of you must have heard crickets chirp at some point in your lives. Crickets mostly do this in order to communicate and to find their mates. But they can't compete with the loud noises that traffic, airplanes, and even construction makes. And due to this, they're not able to find their mates, and their population is slowly declining. I remember a few years back, every time someone was quiet, especially during nights, you could hear a very distinct and loud sound of crickets. But these days, it's hardly audible, even if and mostly it's not at all. So once insects like crickets start to disappear, the birds and animals that depend on them start to disappear as well. We all know how sparrows have become such a rare sighting in cities. And it's not long that peacocks, menas, and even crows like Kaga begin to disappear. Birds and insects are also responsible for the dispersal of seeds and for pollination. So when these creatures start to disappear, plants and animals begin to disappear as well. And in this way, our entire ecosystem begins to collapse. Even undersea, through our loud ships, oil drilling, and military communication, we've made it very difficult for fish to communicate. And it's been observed that humpback whales, which are known for their complex sounds, have stopped singing. And this is threatening their survival. We forget that we are also very much a part of this ecosystem, and anything that affects another animal will ultimately affect us. And even directly, noise pollution and lack of nature can make us more sad, angry, and sick. I have an activity we could try out. So let's all close our eyes for a minute and just listen to the sounds around us. When you open your eyes, listen the sounds you've heard, from the loudest to the quietest? How many of these sounds were natural and how many were man-made? We need to think about which are the sounds we need to keep in order to, and which are the ones we need to discard so that all living beings on earth can harmonize. Could we ask our parents and bus drivers to honk less when they drive? Could we plant more trees to absorb the sounds that we create? And could we adopt ways of living that put us back in tune with nature? Now let's try and compile our thoughts and all the sounds we've heard into a short 3 to 5 line poem. And if you're feeling adventurous like Kaga, you can try to sing it as well. Here's mine. Let the world chirp, buzz and croon, not honk, blast, blare and shout. Let's take time out to listen about and sing nature's tune. So, as most of you must have experienced, during the COVID lockdown, we've all been indoors, and this has given a chance for nature to revive its symphony. As the sounds of man and machine have declined, different birds and animals are coming out onto the empty streets to explore our concrete jungles. Peacocks around my house, I don't know if you just heard the peacocks speak again, but the peacocks keep hooting throughout the day. And it's just beautiful to hear these different birds come back and bring life to my neighborhood. So just like Kaga the crow, we need to listen to these animals, understand them, give them the space to sing, and sing with them.
आवारा भंवरे जो हौले हौले गाए, फूलों के तन पे हवाएं सरसराए, कोयल की कुहू कुहू, पपीहे की पीहू पीहू, जंगल में झींगर की जाएं जाएं, नदिया में लहरें आए, बल खाए छलकी जाएं, भीगे होठों से गुनगुनाए, गाता है साहिल, गाता है बहता सानी, गाता है ये दिल, सुन सारे गामा पादानी सारे, हमारा भंवरे जो हौले हौले गाए.